Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing today? I can't hear you when you're on mute.
Good.
Hi, girl. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you. I was talking about you to somebody the other day. We were talking about we could not remember what your shop name was.
Oh, Annabelle's.
Thank you. Totally went blank. Who was it that I was talking to? I can't remember. Oh, well. Anyways, neither one of us could remember the name of it. I was thinking about it the other day, though, because I still go get my nails done. It was sunny.
Oh, I love them.
I do
Have you
too.
seen our little boy?
Yes, he's so cute. He's she wants more. He does not.
Really?
Yeah. So they're kind of having the battle of the strong wills.
So the interesting part there is Guy Sunny forever was trying to get Girl Sunny to have kids. And
Yes.
she didn't want him. She wasn't ready.
Well, Guy Sunny is now the one that he does not want anymore, and Girl Sunny does. So
That is funny.
yeah.
You'll
It's
have to
a
tell him
little
I said hi
confusing.
when you go in.
I will. My I've taken several friends over there because he takes my wine and serves me my wine. So right before I was going one day, he goes, you don't have any wine left. You need to bring wine. So I'm like, oh yes, that's important. It was a long day. So I'm like, yeah, that's important. Hi, Ann. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Good. Have you guys met Ann? Ann is actually one of our newer agents. She's actually not officially in the PC program because she has been an agent before out of California. So we're excited to have you around. Okay, so let's get started. So I wanted to start essentially with Ignite. And then after we get through the two sections that we were going to go through in Ignite, I wanted to share some pretty exciting information with you guys that apparently we've been setting on like a rooster or a hen on our eggs and haven't shared this information with you guys. And I'm quite embarrassed that we haven't, but we have some really good opportunities for you guys to be able to get some leads and benefit from that. So we were going to start on, there's 4 skills and through Ignite. And so we were going to start on those 4 skills. And so in chapter, I believe we're still in the first Ignite Your Business, but page 18, did you guys all get a copy of the manual? And you may not have gotten a copy of it. I will make sure and send you a copy. But everybody else should have gotten a copy from the recap that Megan sends every week after our call.
I only have pages 1 through 16.
I will make sure that I have Megan send out the entire Ignite Your Business module, so it'll include that.
Okay, thank you.
She's actually at lunch right now, so y'all are just going to have to listen to me, and the next time you'll have pages. I'm so much prettier than paper anyways, so you can look at me instead of your paper.
Indeed you are.
I mean, it's not really hard to be prettier than a piece of paper, so I got to set my sights a little higher. So one of the things that we talk about a lot in this business is that in order for you to sustain and maintain, you have to generate leads. And I don't like the term lead generation because I feel like for some people it's very daunting to hear that. I don't think a lot of people like to hear that we're in the lead generation business, but we are in the people business. And in order to do that, that creates more people that we have to get to know and to meet. And if you've gone through your entire METS database and you don't have anybody else that you know, then you've got to expand upon your database. And to do that, you do have to talk to people that you have not met before. And in doing that, there's so many different ways. But the one thing that we want to look at, coming into the next couple of classes is we want to look at those 4 skills that it takes for gaining a strong customer base and having success in real estate with your real estate sales. Skill number 1 is you have to know what is your big why and what is your monetary goal. Skill number 2 is you have to commit to daily lead generation. You have to make sure that the things that you're doing today and the behavior that you have today is going to affect your business in 30, 60, and 90 days down the road. So if you don't do it one day, you don't do it the next day, you might be coming up on some months that are going to be lighter. And so every day you have to carve out that time. And then what we're going to talk about next week is use influencing sales language. And next week, we're actually going to dive in a little bit more with some scripts and do some practice there. So we're really only going to go over skill number 3 next week, which is use influencing sales language. And we're going to talk about some of those scripts and things that you guys have brought up as interesting things that you want to talk about. And then skill number 4 is be accountable to your big why and your monetary goal. You know, if you've been with Keller Williams any length of time, or even if you haven't been, one of the things we always talk about is you have to have a big why. You have to have a reason why you get up and put your big girl panties on every morning and come into work. You have to have a reason why you take the people that yell at you because their house wasn't accepted in a multiple offer situation. All of those things that we deal with on a daily basis, you have to always go back to why are you here and why are you doing this? And it's all about mindset. But it's not just about mindset. It's also looking at what are you passionate about? You know, because selling real estate may not always be what your passion is, but at the end of the day, selling real estate is going to get you to what you're passionate about. And so you always have to make sure that you know your mindset is right and your attitude is where it needs to be with your passion. So tell me, just kind of throw some things out there. What stirs your soul? I like that question. What stirs your soul? What gets you going? What's some things that really are important to you? Any of you?
Time with my family.
Okay. Leverage time with your family. Okay. I'm shallow.
Family and financial freedom.
Very good. I was thinking purses. I was like, I'm so shallow. Here you are talking about your family. And I'm like, I just want a nice purse. I mean, I want to be able to share it with my family. But we all have different things that, you know, we love. And I'm sure Janie's getting ready to go in here to make me feel bad too. And then she wants
no, I was
her
just going
family.
to say real quick that I have a closing on Thursday. And I told my husband, I was like, I need a new purse.
See?
It's funny you say that.
I actually don't need it. Right now, my passion is we bought a different house and we're doing remodel stuff, and my husband is as tight as bark on a tree. So my passion right now is convincing him that I need certain things that are kind of expensing or throwing our budget completely out of the window. So that's my big why right now. So we all have different things. Some of it could be financial freedom, and when you look at it, what is it going to take for you to get there? And so we want to look at not only just setting up your big why, but we want to also talk about what is it going to look like for you to have that, to have your financial success, and to see that, you now have all of your bills paid for, and you don't have to worry about thinking about that bottom line. Because, when you first start out, it's hard not to think about and be tied to a certain transaction, because that may be the only transaction you have going on right then. And so we have to always remember that those transactions are going to continue like that if you don't continue to do that 80% that is or the 20% that is responsible for that 80% of your business. And so we want to look at, the next 12 months. Imagine if you were able to accomplish what you just stated was your big why. Imagine that 1 year from today, your business is thriving and your life is everything you've dreamed of. Can you imagine the stress and how that feels just to be in that moment and to think about it? Because you have to think it and dream it in order to be it. Because you don't just go out and say, I want this, without having a huge result at the end, and that's your big why. So now we have to take that big why and we have to take little sections of it and break it down to where that elephant is not as big, with little bites as it would be if you ate the entire elephant at a time. And so that's what we're going to look at that. If your goal is to be, let's say, rookie of the year for your year in real estate, what's that going to take? You know, my year in real estate, when I was rookie of the year, I had 24 transactions and my GCI was almost 100,000. So is that equivalent to where it's at now? I would say that, you know, if you were about in that $100,000 GCI with 24 to, 30 units, you would definitely be falling within that rookie of the year. So let's talk about, maybe think about, I'm going to give you guys about a minute, and I want you to write on a piece of paper. I know a couple of you mentioned it, but I want you to write on a piece of paper, what is your big why? And then after you write your big why, I want you to write underneath it, what will achieving that goal mean for you? And I assume your big why will be broken down in an annual basis. You may not be able to get exactly what you want accomplished in 1 year, but you need to look at micro goals in order to get you to that big goal. And so think about how long you want to take to accomplish that big why. One of the things Gary Keller says is think big, act bold, and live large. And even though we might not always reach every single goal that we have set out there, if you don't ever think it, you never will become it. Now, on the flip side, I want you to think of a couple of things that might stand in your way of accomplishing your big goal and your big why. And then I want you to write, what can you do to help prevent that from getting in the way? Now, I want you guys to keep this in front of you. I want you to always remember what that big why is and what that goal is that you're trying to accomplish, so that when you feel like you get derailed or frustrated or, feel like things aren't going your way, kind of pull back a little bit, take a deep breath, look at what your big why is, and remember that Rome wasn't built in a day. And we're all going to go through instances and challenges throughout our daily walks that will cause us to question. 6 months in, I questioned if I could be a realtor because a for sale by owner made me so mad. I thought I never want to deal with that kind of person again. But I had a great mentor that helped me through it, talked me off the ledge, and I'm still here today, 12, almost 13 years later. So it's very, very important that, we all understand that there is a big goal, but there are going to be obstacles throughout the way. But if we understand that what some of those obstacles are, we can kind of help counterbalance those before they become an issue. And I love this question about, let's just say that my big why is I want to have peace of mind that I'm going to be able to have my bills paid. I'm going to get my financial freedom. I'll be able to retire at a decent age. And if that's the case, then that's my peace and that's where I need to be. And so I want to go to that place. And so I asked myself the question, how dare you not make your lead generation calls and give up on that dream? Because that is what's going to cause you from not having that dream, is not continuing to add to your pipeline. And so we want to get through some of those things that will help to add to that dream. So on page 23, there's a place where you can figure out kind of a monetary. It's kind of a diagram that shows If your average price is X and you want to make X GCI, which is gross commission income, that's the amount that you make when you get paid at the table by the title company. Whatever that amount is, and just for ease of use, we're going to use $100,000. Let's say you want to make $100,000 a year in gross commission income. And what is the average commission that percentage that most people charge in this area?
6%.
6%. So if you got both sides, you would get 6. But for the sake of making kind of the easier calculations, and most of us don't get double sides on every listing, we're going to use 3% as the amount on the buyer's side. So if you had an average sales price, which our average sales price in Edmond for January was like $331. So that's a pretty significant average price range. Starting out, you're probably going to be closer to that 200 and below, just from, unless you come in with a, big bulk of business, that is the higher price points. My price point whenever I was, when I started, was closer to that 225. And prices have gone up, yes, but just because of the nature of who we're dealing with when we first start out. So if that is the case, you have a $200,000 average sales price, you have a 3% commission rate. That means your average commission is $6,000. Okay. So our company dollar that you pay in here is $18,000. And then we have a 3% royalty or 6% royalty that caps at $3,000. So your total maximum exposure for Keller Williams is $21,000 a year. So if you were to take your gross commission income and you were to multiply it times that 40% that you pay into Keller Williams, when you're capped at 18,000, that's going to give you a basis of how many transactions you need to sell in order to get to that 100,000. So just for ease of use and all that, I just went through and did a quick calculation based on my husband's numbers. And we would need 12 transactions if we backed into it based off $100,000, based off of what our average commission is, to get to $100,000 in gross income, gross commission income. I'm sure it's clear as mud because you guys don't have a sheet to look at. So the formula will actually be written out on the Ignite sheet to show you how easy it is to calculate that. So if you need 12 transactions a month or a year, that means 1 transaction a month. Then we can back into what are the things that we have to do and the behaviors that we have to follow on a daily basis to get us to close 1 deal a month and 12 deals a year. Well, you also want to you start looking at your conversion rate. If you're doing a lot of internet-based business, your internet conversion is probably only going to be about 5%. Could be less than that. It's just the way it is with some of the internet leads that come through. So you're going to have to figure out how many leads am I going to need to do and work in order to get that 5% conversion. So you'll back into those numbers too. A good rule of thumb, and we've actually narrowed it down for you guys, and we said for you to do 5 reach outs, 5 handwritten notes, and 1 preview a week. They turn up the volume a little bit in Ignite, and they want you to do 10, 10, and 4. Is that right, or is it more than that? Yeah, 10, 4. Good, buddy. 10, 10, and 4. They want you to do 10 contacts every day, 10 handwritten notes every day, and 4 previews every day. We did 1 a week.
Meaning preview
properties. Yeah.
Okay.
So what we have told people in here is that, if you go out and look at vacant homes, or even if you go out and look at homes I had somebody that was a new agent that went to open houses this last weekend. That's basically, we're wanting you just to know what's the market, what's out there, what are houses selling for, what are the houses that are actually on the market, what's the condition, price, all of that. It keeps you in tune with what is going on in your marketplace. So with that, each month you'll figure out how many daily calls you need to make. If you're making 10 calls every single day, that's 50 calls every single week. That's 200 calls a month. I guarantee you that's at least a 2 or 3 person conversion over time. So now you've increased your sales to not only the $100,000 GCI, but now $300,000 GCI, because you probably tripled the amount that you need to do. So I believe if you continue on your 5, 5, and 1, I feel like that is a adequate amount to not make you feel overwhelmed. If you are gung-ho and balls to the wall, want to get this thing done, then I would add 10 as your number to look at. The more people you call, the more chance you have at conversion, and the more money you add to your overall GCI. So then let's talk about skill 2, which is what we're talking about. We're talking about lead generation and how you have to commit to every single day doing the lead generation and the task that are going to make you successful in this business. So we have to lead generate in order to get an appointment. And in order to get an appointment, we have to do that before we can get an agreement. And then once we get an agreement, our next step is a contract. And then we close. So if you look at that over time, from the time that you're lead generating until the time you close, it could be an average of 90 days, but it really depends on how motivated that buyer is. They say that when you get an internet lead, a buyer will be anywhere from 6 months to 18 months out in order to buy a property. That means they're not really called leads, they're called nurtures. And so you have to nurture that contact through to actually getting an appointment. You start with that lead gen, then you go to the appointment, to the agreement, to the contract, and then the close. So they're estimating about 90 days to go through that process. If you, every single day, if you lead generate, 90 days later, if you don't lead generate, 90 days later, you can expect no money. That means you have to lead generate every day in order for your business to maintain, sustain, and be very consistent over time. So how long on average does it take to get a buyer or seller to sign a contract? What do you guys think?
30 days.
Anywhere from, I actually say anywhere from 1 to 60 days because they may come to you and they be, well, you have an example, Aisha, you have someone that came and they're ready to roll. So yes, yours could be a short amount of time. And Aisha and I just talked about this with the buyer brokerage agreements. You know, the way that it's taught and the way you're supposed to is you get a buyer brokerage agreement signed whenever you pick up an actual client. I personally was not someone that pushed that very hard as a agent, because I felt like I had good relationship skills. If I lost someone to a buyer or, you know, to another agent, I wasn't going to fight with anyone. I wasn't going to, you know, hold someone's hands over the fire. I mean, to me, it's about having those relationships. Now, you should get a buyer brokerage agreement signed, because if you don't, then you have to be forced with facing the things that happen after that, which is somebody else getting your buyer. So this is the way I run my business. The way you should run your business is not the way I run my business, but it always worked for us. And we did a very good, I'm not saying we didn't lose people, but the people we lost a lot of times were people that we wanted to actually lose. So it, you know, worked out fine. And to me, it's like, I don't want to be the person that does a buyer brokerage agreement when they write a contract. I let them know about the buyer brokerage agreement, but I also let them know that I like to work off of a personal relationship and building that relationship. And once we get something under contract, we'll have them sign that buyer brokerage for a short amount of time. This is so 100% against everything that Keller Williams speaks, but you know what? We curate ourselves within the ethical standards to whatever business works for us. And I don't like to say you have to do it one way or the other when one way or the other may or may not work for you guys. And so that was the way that worked for us. And we were acceptable on getting burned if we happened to get burned on the backside. But we had a great working relationship with our buyers. So How long does it take you to get paid if you have a contract go under, or if you have something go under contract? 30 to 60 days. It takes whatever time it's going to take to process it. And so you have to look at all of those factors when you're looking at how many people do I need to call on a regular basis to get my business where it needs to be. And so, if you're working right now for things that you're not going to see any results from generally until we get into the spring and summertime. That's where your business right now is going to come from, is whoever you're contacting and reaching out today is going to be for future business. And so you always have to look at that. We've had this conversation before too, that you can't get into the busyness and forget about the business. And that's what happens sometimes when you get busy. You start working on the transaction, but you forget that you need to continue to lead generate to build your business in order to bring more people in. And that's where we have to remember is be consistent. Even if you can be consistent 1 hour a day with your reach outs, do it every single day, at least a certain amount of time. And then you'll continue to be able to build upon that. So you want to lead generate every day. You want to build your database of contacts. You want to communicate every single day with people about real estate. And you want to commit to going on a lot of appointments, practicing your scripts, and getting better. And then when you get that lead, there's kind of a process of, and we actually have that set up in Command now, where you can put that person in and you can cultivate them or you can nurture them. There's different phases within that lead. And your lead generation funnel, and it's got to be filled with leads at all times. The countdown to your payday starts when the lead becomes an appointment. I mean, plain and simple. You get a buyer or you get a seller to agree to work exclusively with you. And then next up is when we get them under contract. And after you get them under contract, now we're headed to closing. There are so many things that are included in that. I have a sheet that talks about 180 different things a realtor does and like the duties of a realtor. And it's stuff that we do every day that we never think to mention to our clients. But if you went through and looked at that, the amount of people that try to get us to cut our commission, if you were to share that particular sheet with them and show them that these are all the things that I do for you as a full service agent, it helps tremendously. And if you guys would like a copy, would you guys like a copy of that? Perfect. I'll send
Yes. Yes.
Yes, please.
that. You bet. I actually would always put it in my packets too for my listing packets because a lot of times, listing or sellers sometimes think that they can do our job better than we can. That's why they're called FSBOs. And as we all know, if you've dealt with a FSBO, they don't know what they're doing. So it's nice for you to be able to say, these are all the things that I do as a full service agent. So when they try to get you to cut any of your commission, you say, that's great, but I can't provide you with the full service business, the full service package. And so you can kind of work into some of those, and everything that it talks about is just every day. It's common for us. It's just general things that we do, but lining it out so that people see it, it makes your value even greater. So the biggest part about Ignite, and the thing that Ignite is here to do, is to really help you focus on leads. We want to make sure that calling leads and building your database is the most important thing you do. So we're going to, I know the regular Ignite, when you're in person and everybody's together, you're calling leads, you're doing all that together. We don't have as much time, nor do we have kind of the setup with it being in Zoom. So we're going to focus on Ignite being the area that we provide you with tools and skills and knowledge and training to help get you there. So we're going to practice some of those things. Like I said, next week, we're going to talk about this, some of the scripts and dialogue that can be used in certain situations. And we're going to kind of review some of those. Nobody likes to do it. I don't even like to do it, but we're going to do it to get better. And we can all get better from it. And nobody should feel inadequate when they're going through the scripts as well. We all start somewhere and it's uncomfortable. It does not matter unless somebody they can talk to a stone wall that will never talk back to them. They will probably do okay with scripts because they don't care, but it's just uncomfortable when you know somebody and you're having this conversation and it's not in the live situation, but it does help tremendously. So we're going to talk about some of those scripts next week. We're also going to show how when you build powerful relationships through leveraging your scripts, how that will in turn help you to ask for the business without feeling like you're asking for the business. And then you can ask for referrals. You know, they might not be in the market to buy or sell right now, but they know people. And a lot of people have their signature line that says, the greatest compliment you can give is a referral to me. And that's incredible because if they may not have the business right now, but they probably have people that they know that's looking to buy or sell. It's unbelievable to me how sometimes when I'm in a conversation with friends or family and they'll say, oh yeah, so-and-so, they're buying a house right now or they're looking. Okay, did you not think to like ask me if I can help them? And so it's really an eye opener sometimes when you're talking to people and you don't ask for referrals, but you might be asking them if they have an immediate need, but then they have people that they talk to in their business or just in, school activities and stuff that would help us to gain that referral business. And then we always want to come from contribution. We always want to have the mindset and the gratefulness and the gratitude that is very important in this business to come from contribution. And we don't want to be attached to the outcome. And I said that earlier. You don't want to have a situation where if you don't close a deal, it's going to be dramatic and kind of a desperate situation for you. You always want to make sure you're in a position to handle the transaction, but not be married to the outcome. Also a reminder, there are federal and state do not call lists and spam laws. So make sure that when you guys are calling people that you have that in mind as well. So let's talk about 4 habits. There's 4 powerful habits that we can get into. That first one is grow and manage your database. So that's where we talked about adding 10 contacts, or what we've been doing is adding 5 contacts every single day to your database. If you added 10 every single day, we calculated that earlier, that's 200 new people that you would add to your database in a month. That is incredible. Even if you got close to that, what an incredible thing to add to your database. Then you're going to talk to those people. It's not a matter of just sticking them in your database and hoping they call you. You have to be the one to actually reach out to them, either by doing a pop by or doing, a phone call or getting on social media. Whatever method that you have of reaching out to them, you're going to reach out to those people every single day. You're going to prospect. And then you want to follow up. I used to go on relocation listing appointments, and we always competed with another agent. And one of the things that I started doing is every time I would go out to an appointment, I would always send a thank you card after I was done to the actual seller that I met with. And I tried to do it immediately because I knew that they would make a decision pretty quickly, but I knew I could probably get my card there before they made a decision because I usually always met with them first, mainly because I was always the one that called them first. And so they already had the appointment set up. So that is something that you really want to look at is what can you do to provide follow-up for clients, for people that you've talked to. Let's say it's someone that you talked to and you didn't get a real long conversation because they had something else coming up, so you had to hang up. Maybe that's the person that you send a follow-up to and say, hey, we didn't get to talk as much as I wanted, but I saw on Facebook that your mom was, feeling better. I'm so glad to hear that. I don't know if you know, but the market is really hot right now. So I don't know if you're ready to sell, but I could sell that house of yours really, really quick and get you into a different home. Whatever you want to say about that, but you always want to do a shameless plug for you being a realtor. Then you want to know your market. And that is the reason why we ask you to do the 5 previews or the 1 preview a week. We want you to know your market. When I was, a new agent, the one thing that made me feel better was knowing that I knew the data, I knew the statistics, and I felt confident in that. I may not have known all of the things to say, but I also knew where I could go to get the answers. And so knowing your inventory and knowing what's going on out there will help you talk intelligently to your clients to where they will have no idea that you're brand new because you work for an office that has really high market share and a lot of seasoned agents in the office. I would use your experience of the agents in the office over your personal experience all day long, because we have 215 agents in this office that come from a wide background of knowledge and information. And we can pull from that on a daily basis. And I would always use that when I would talk about market share and how we are the office that has the highest market share in this particular area. And it would take 3 or 4 other companies to equal our market share. And so we sell 1 in 7 homes in this market. Wouldn't you, Mr. Seller, want to actually list with someone that sells 1 in 7 homes in this market? So those are some of the talking points that I kind of want to go through. And then we want to, make sure that when you're growing and managing your database, you're prospecting, you're following up, you're knowing your market. We want you to remember that every single day you have to continue to do that. And so I think that's where sometimes we get a little tired, a little lazy. COVID has not helped, I'm sure, with some of that. I know when we were in quarantine, I don't think I wore makeup the entire 45 days that we were in quarantine. So I got a little lazy, so things have changed in our environments, in our marketplace, but they've also changed for our clients. And a lot of them are at home and a lot of them are waiting just to get those phone calls. We sent out a message also about just reaching out to people and, hey, now we have the crazy weather, the market is flying right now. There's so many things going on with limited inventory. If you have ever thought about selling, now's the time to sell. Those are the types of things that you can send out to people that you know and change it up a little bit. So maybe it doesn't feel so coined and scripted. So that way, when you are the ones actually making the calls, you make it more of your own and kind of change up the wording. We've talked about Diana Kokoska before and how hardcore she is. And I took a lot of the stuff that she had put together when I first started, but knowing that her conversations would be a lot different than my conversations. She was a hardcore salesperson. I was a hardcore relationship builder. And so I knew that my personal conversations would be a lot different than what her conversations would be, because she would be very direct and she would be very much involved in the sales side. I wanted to get to know people and have that conversation before I actually did that hardcore. So you have to look at it in terms of what's the best reach out for you with your client base. You have people in your phone, you have people in your social media. All you have to do is now use those people to reach out to them to actually ask for the business. So there's actually accountability is very important here. And there is a place where you can go in and do your tracking of your online. You can go to daily104.com. And that is a tracker where you can actually start tracking your contacts, like how many people you've reached out to, how many people you've sent a handwritten note to, and how many pop buys or previews that you've done. And that's daily104.com. I went in this morning and I added, it's so easy to just go in and track them through that. If you're more of a paper person, just write it down on paper. However you need to do it, that's how we want you to do it. The goal here is just to make sure that you're getting the leads, you're getting the prospects, and you're reaching out the way you should. Now, Anne, this next portion is going to be different for you because you're not going to be reaching out to Joe for leads. You're going to be working with me. However, for the rest of you, one of the reasons why I wanted to, for sure bring up today was the opportunity that you guys have to get leads as much as you want, as many as you want, and as many kinds that you want. If you will email Joe, which is the PCX coach, do you all have his email?
Yes.
Who does not?
I'm not sure if I do or not.
Okay, I'm going to put it in the chat so that way there's no confusion on his actual email. So you just have to email Joe and you will let him know, not you, Ann, you're going to be with me. You email Joe and you say, I would like to have some leads. You can do it as much as you want. He has expired leads. He has geo leads. I'm not really sure what the geo leads are, other than that's just a company that he uses to pull the leads. He will send you also, he can do like geographic farming where he can pull leads from a geographic area. But if you will send him a message and then copy, you don't have to copy me, just send him a message, say, I am in the PCX program at Keller Williams Central Oklahoma, and I would like to get some leads. And then maybe specify if you want the expired or if you want the for sale by owner or what kind you're looking for. He said that he can pull leads. I think you get them within 24 hours of requesting them, and you can request them as much as you want. So with those leads, though, I want to make sure that you're using those leads to actually do follow-ups, to where you're doing the nurtures, you're getting in and putting them on smart plans. If you're not sure how to do that, you need to get with Jeremy, because we do not want you guys doing these leads if you're not going to do anything with them. You're hurting yourself and you're hurting the company. And we pay for this on the backside, so we want you guys to use this. So email him as much as you want, because we want you to help build up your business, but this will also help you with continuing to line up your nurturing and your follow-ups with your clients. Okay, did everybody get that?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. And I'm going to work with Jeremy on yours with some leads. So just hang tight for a couple of days on that. Jeremy and I are supposed to meet today or tomorrow, but we're going to try something with you on that. Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, I got a question. Can you email me that email? I don't think I have it.
Look in the chat.
Okay.
I just put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It's Quattrucci. Sounds like a mob boss or something. I don't know why. Quattrucci. Joe is the one that actually does the class on Tuesdays. So he's the one that is helping us with some of those leads. And we are probably, since we don't have anyone that we have in that PC role yet, I'm taking over kind of everything that Tiara was doing and doing the coaching, but he is also helping me with some of the coaching, and I'm going to be adding some additional things to him as well. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. Well, hopefully you, yes.
Unrelated, probably.
Yeah.
Is there still an orientation scheduled for this Wednesday?
No, Megan was going to reach out to you. You're the only one that we have that was new, but we have several people that will be coming in. Like they're just kind of on hold because of Oric.
Yes.
So yeah. So we're actually moving you to the 31st of March. However, Jeremy will probably still start that Command Essential course with you, which is starting next week. So I'm going to ask him to make sure. We just talked about moving the orientation since you were the only one. We'd like to have it to where you can meet other people too that are new coming on board. And we take all the staff out to teach it. So it's kind of hard for just one person. So we'll move you to the next one. But by then we'll probably have 4 or 5 people that will be in that class.
Perfect.
You bet. All right. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, that's all for today. I will tell you that next week, we are going to be on pages 35 to 56, and I will have Megan send out a recap with this video and information, and we will go through 35 to 56, and then we will do some role plays next week. So I better not have 0 people on the call because it's not fun to role play. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Good luck. Have a great day, and hopefully you guys will get a lot of business this week. How did your showings go, Aisha?
It actually went really well. They're
yay.
very interested in buying the house, so we're getting started on that right now.
Woohoo! Congratulations. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you for the help. That really
You're
helped.
welcome.
Yes.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a great day.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.